And welcome to our magnetic fields and features section. We'll be looking at the Earth geospace, the solar magnetic environment, sunspots and coronal holes, and even the environment in between. So this is the last 4 hours of magnetohydrodynamic pressure. We do see a little increase here, followed by a little decrease, I would expect, and indeed you do there at the end, caused by looks like a small coronal mass ejection strike. We'll get to it momentarily. First, ground magnetic perturbations, showing you the most likely places to see aurorae. And we are seeing some likely aurorae there around the northern U.S. and southern Canada. Large portions of Canada expected to have seen aurora in the past several hours. That's 4 hours of data in nanotesla. It's modeled by the Space Weather Modeling Framework. Geospace delta B changes to Earth's B field. Next, looking at the GOES magnetometers. Space-based magnetometers in a geosynchronous geostationary orbit located near the equator. Anyway, those are the readings from the GOES 16 and 17. Let's take a look at the heliospheric current sheet. Earth is in a North Pole current sheet. Just keep in mind the data is about an hour and 16 minutes old and the magnetic environment can change with basically no warning. It helps to be able to understand the physics, to be able to forecast the future. Next, the line of sight ecliptic plane field plot, looking across the ecliptic plane here from Earth's perspective, also showing the solar magnetogram. No like really big sunspot activity here happening in the past 24. Everything remaining mostly stable here. And here's our coronal hole line of sight plot. It also shows you the sun's B field in blue. The B field is the field that goes through the magnet, folks. This magnet being the sun. This data is derived from 51 ground-based magnetometers, as well as magnetometers at Lagrange 5 on stereo A and Lagrange 4 on stereo B. Here's a visual view in ultraviolet light, 193 angstroms from the SDO. Some well-defined coronal holes here, some reaching down toward the equator. Great view there of the evil that lurks within the depths of coronal holes. It's streams of protons that lurk in the depths of coronal holes, or at least that erupt from coronal holes. In any case, likelihood of major flares not all that high. The most likely place to see a large flare, I would say, is sunspot 2948. There are actually several groups here, at least 5 named groups at the moment. Again, we're expecting an uptick in solar activity coming soon. So here's the northern hemisphere. Pretty calm up there. We'll also show the southern hemisphere. Sunspot 2948. Looks like it's actually degraded here a little bit. I believe there are some trailing umbrae there. We've got some happenings over here as well. I try not to memorize the names of sunspot groups, especially when there are 5 of them. To quote Albert Einstein, never memorize something you can look up. There's the full disk view. That's 1700 angstroms, extreme ultraviolet light. It's great at showing the flat-looking chromosphere there. Most of the other AIA views are showing the corona as well as the chromosphere. Next, the GOES X-ray flux here over the past 3 days. No major flares, just a couple of C-class intensifications here. Low levels of solar activity. There has been a proton spike going on. It was associated with an M-class flare, so some relativistic particles still hanging out around the Earth environment there, as measured by the GOES 16. And let's go to the real-time solar wind. Looks like we saw a minor coronal mass ejection strike here, just a little bit of ejecta showing up, a little bit of a spike in the speed. The speed going from 330 to about 380 kilometers per second. Also accompanied by a small increase in the plasma temperature. So we are expecting to see a more sustained uptick here in the solar wind speed, as it looks like there is a coronal hole wind stream arriving. At least the pressure wave of it has been going on since yesterday. We did reach a maximum of nearly 20 protons per cubic centimeter there for the density. Current conditions are more like 10 protons per cubic centimeter. Solar wind speed about 371 kilometers a second. Is this the arrival of the high-speed portion of the high-speed coronal hole wind stream. KP index only at 2. It's a geomagnetic calm condition at the moment. And if you want to read more about the KP index, just head to the Planetary K Index page and read the Details tab. It's all ground-based magnetometers. Next, we're going to show you what's happening in the solar system. Here's where things are now. Here's where heavenly bodies will be in a week. It'll be a crescent waning for Earth's moon as Venus and Mercury speed away to lap the Earth yet again. Next, a star chart. If you're up before dawn, you might see Mars and Venus side by side around the ecliptic while the moon sets. Also, Mercury and Saturn rising ahead of the sun. The blue line's the galactic plane. The yellow line is the ecliptic, the path the sun takes across the sky. And next, we'll look at coronagraphs. By the way, make sure you check out our previous space weather video. We had some great imagery, some custom HelioViewer movies for you. This is 2 of 3 daily space weather videos for the day. And we'll show you the view from Stereo A and the LASCO C2 coronagraph. Stereo A here over on the left, located at Lagrange point 5, trailing the Earth orbitally speaking, but seeing space weather ahead, hence the term Stereo A, LASCO C2. From the perspective of LASCO C2, the Earth would be behind you. From the perspective of Stereo A, Earth would be off in this direction. And we can use those 2 data sets to best determine the trajectory of coronal mass ejections. And it's time to eject from this video. Thanks for tuning in, folks. Congratulations on realizing the channel exists. May that solar wind be at your back. And I've been your host, Dan, a.k.a. Smash-A-Mash, signing off from the Smash News Network, least posted name in news.